Hi, my name is Joe. Um, this is going to be my first audio recording or commentary, I guess, for a Mythic Plus on my channel. We're going to be running a 21 workshop. I'm showing my gear right now. Kind of just maxed out on Valor gear, not the best in slot or anything like that. You can see I'm running Righteous Protector and Judgment of the Light there at the bottom. Pretty standard setup on the build. Nothing crazy, nothing too out of the norm. There's a group of friends that I have. I'm just going to kind of chime in whenever I think it's appropriate. Basically, I'm just going to let the video run and kind of talk over it. And you guys can just listen to music. So I do take Mastery here as a protection paladin. With it being fortified, I'm going to be getting hit a lot harder and a lot more frequently on these higher keys. I usually start taking Mastery over Haste at around the 20 level mark on fortified. On Tyrannical, I usually go Haste all the way up as far as possible. For the first pull here, I tell my group to kind of just hang back because I'm going to solo this. On Fortified, again, it's a little difficult because these things are a little tougher, and with that Nathrezim in there, you got to be on the lookout for that that puddle if it goes down. I use everything here. I use Ardent Defender, I use my 50% wall, I use my bubble, I use everything because I'm not going to need it for the boss whatsoever, and you want to make sure that you get it down. For Warrior, I also suggest just using everything. Monk, you know, I think it's valuable for every tank, maybe except for Blood DK, to just send everything possible on that first pull, especially if you're going to just solo it. There really isn't really a point to holding, again, like I said, because you're not going to need it for the boss. So this boss is super simple. I'm just going to take him over these hammers, okay, and just let the hammers hit him. My DPS will usually get the other boss down to, like, I would say 50% on a Tyrannical, and I think even lower on a Fortified, obviously, before we get all three of these stacks taken off of the Pummeler, or the Platinum Pummeler. For Paladin, this is exceptionally easy, just because you can heal yourself. Your healer doesn't have to worry about you. What I usually like to do is if people are in range of me, I'll usually try to pop heals off on them as well. Hey buddy, what are you doing? That's my son just coming in here, being a crazy man. So again, as you can see, my DPS get the other boss down to almost dead before I bring the Pummeler over. I bring the Pummeler over just for easy cleave. These Vent Jets are very scary, even on Fortified. Here, when I'm close, I'm trying to off-heal best I can. My group isn't in danger. Our healer, old Greg, he did a really, really good job of just healing through that. Tyrannical, that's a different story altogether. So Platinum Pummeler, very easy. Even on Fortified, though, that little whirl he does definitely hits hard. You'll see these mines he gets put behind him. Try to kite away. Try to be cognizant of where your melee DPS are specifically. You don't really want to screw them over if they get hit by the saws, because the saws have a really kind of crazy hitbox. Here I'm just communicating to my group what I'm going to be doing next, and usually what I like to do is I usually like to pull these drills, a double drill here, but I usually like to stagger and wait, just to let the healer catch up and to let the DPS kind of know what's going on. This process wave, it'll one-tap your DPS, and for a tank, it'll hurt you quite a bit. And it goes right into a Mega Drill. It's always the same pattern here, so I always try to wait for the first Mega Drill, then I pull that second drill in. And I always angle them towards the wall here, always looking out for where that process wave is. The trick to the process wave is you wait till it's just about done, and then you sidestep out. Usually it's a little risky because you'll take one tick of damage, but if you don't, they'll move at that last second where you're going, and they'll totally screw over your DPS. I mark out green there as a LOS point for my DPS, and I just communicate to them, all right, after this second process wave, I'm going to pull into that second slime group. I'm sidestep there, I range pull, nice and easy. As a protection paladin, I'm doing tons of damage here, so I could probably just solo these slimes a lot of the time, especially with Divine Toll up. I do need a little bit of help here just because I just don't have that damage right away to get it all done. But as you can see, the group was able to avoid most of that damage with that LOS spot. The bursting is another story altogether, but again, we had a bad rollover on that bursting. Not a big deal. I pull this group back just because I don't want that Nathrezine puddle to go behind that pillar. I let my group know to go back to that LOS point, and then once that LOS point is, or those slimes are done, we just kind of beat on these two a little bit. I let the group kind of stabilize. Bad positioning on the frontal, but luckily they nerfed the range quite a bit. I start kiting back, and I'll mark out a new LOS point for my group to stand in. Again, the whole point of them kind of staying back is because we don't want that sleep puddle to go in that LOS point. Alright, process wave here. I think I wait for the next mega drill. Nope, I go straight in. Alright, so then I pull these guys. Again, I pull them in a very specific way so that my range has a very easy chance of just LOSing these guys. My warrior kind of just eats it, but again, you know, zug, not a big deal. The most dangerous part of those pulls is the instantaneous 5-stack to 6-stack of bursting. But again, if you have a semi-competent healer, that's going to be no problem. The drill is a very non-dangerous mob to take into Zolgamox here, because all you have to really do is just avoid Mega Drill and that process wave. And as long as you're cognizant of where that process wave is going to be pointing, then you can just go hard in on Zolgamox and just cleave down these two ads. The dog doesn't hit very hard, so it's kind of whatever. And sometimes you'll see as the process wave here, it'll just weirdly aim in a safe direction and then go off, and you don't have to move at all. And that's usually because the hitbox of Zolgamox is really, really large and the drill is really large, so they kind of just, they're in the middle of moving right as they finish casting that. So again, we angle that process wave here in a safe position. We just move it away, nice and easy, and we're just kind of monitoring everything here. Zolgamox is an unfortunate mini-boss pull in Workshop specifically, because if you want to utilize the Warlock Gate Skip, you have, like at the end of the, right before the last boss, you have to pull Zolgamox for a percentage, just because that last pull is arguably way more dangerous than Zolgamox, in my opinion. So Kujo, really nothing to say here. Very simple boss. Again, it kind of relies solely on your healer. As long as your healer gets that debuff off you, Kujo doesn't hit you hard at all. He's kind of a follower boss as long as you get that debuff dispelled off you. Now, the cool thing about these boxes here is I don't have the weak aura currently, but you can kind of position yourself where you can still hit the boss here. You'll see me like spamming shield and hammer to try to see if I can get onto it, just to get a little extra damage. The Warlock is really, really good at getting into that LOS spot where he can still hit the boss but not take damage from the leaps, or from the venting flames. So here you can see I actually find that sweet spot. I'm able to throw my hammer right there, and I'm not getting hit by the vent flames. If you're ranged, definitely go get that weak aura. It helps alleviate some downtime on this boss, just because on Tyrannical, the higher up you go in keys, the more this is going to hit, you know, or the more health obviously this is going to have, and the more uptime DPS is going to have, the better. I mess up here. I'm so dumb. I thought I could get this jump here, but I failed at it. I go ahead and just jump down, and because I get stuck in this little crevice here, I just jump down and I just run it like normal. A few seconds off the timer, but it is what it is. Figured it would have been faster for me to just run it than try to just work my way or struggle bust my way through this jumping puzzle that arguably would have taken me longer than just to run it back. No, don't touch. Can you say hi, Ashton?
Hi.
There you go. So this first pull can be a little bit of a challenge just because the dog spawns right on top of your ranged a lot of the times. So I like to hang back and with my ranged, grab aggro on that dog, and with Paladin privilege, just mass interrupt those tinkers. I don't like to take the Nathrezim into this pull just because it adds way too much chaos to an already pretty chaotic pull. As long as interrupts are going out on the tinkers, and as long as people are avoiding the squirrels, I think that's more than enough for this pull. Going into the Nathrezim, I usually take Nathrezim into the 3 robot pulls here because the only thing that you need to really look out for is the short out. That comes out of the Mark III, and then the debuff that goes out with the Mark Is is very, very dangerous, but again, that's a healer problem a lot of the times. Even though the short out does a lot of damage, I would say the kill target here should be the Mark Is, just because that dot that's going out, it can double up on DPS, and if that happens, it just brutalizes them. So as you can see, our warrior just does a rally on this first short out. Very, very simple, very easy. We get that Nathrezim down. Very good cleave, very good 2-target to 3-target cleave in this comp. But if you're looking at my party frames, you can see that dot just continuously is ticking my warrior down for probably a good 15 to 20% of his health. So we just kind of got to pay attention to that. That's why I think the Mark Is are usually a pretty good kill target here. For the crab bot here, it's nothing new. This has been in the game since Mechagon was current content. Back in BFA, you just pull them into this corner here. And your range can stand all the way in the back. I know I'm not showing it, but they can stand all the way in the back at max range, and they don't have to worry about this silence quadrants thing. Try to keep his body perpendicular with that wall that you're standing up against, and the quadrants show up really, really simple and easy, just like so. And then your range don't even have to worry about it. You'll see how I angle his body. It's very very easy because the quadrants are based off of where the crab is, not so much of anything else. So as long as you can see all 4 sides of the boss, then you can avoid this really, really easily. I think we're making really good time on this key here. I don't really see anything glaring. I don't know how I got through there without getting hit on that first zap bot there. The puzzle's really, really simple. You can cheese it, but it's really not worth cheesing. So you see that first bot that goes by the slime, the one that I'm facing right here, the one that I'm waiting on. As long as the one that cuts you off is all the way at the end, the walk time is usually fine. So, Warrior, Rogue, Shaman, and I make it through. Warlock's on the struggle bus back there, so I go ahead and pull. I let the Rogue know that this is his time to surpass the Warlock in overall. We get a spear in the shield, which is really unfortunate because now we're losing a lot of damage on those mobs as a whole. You want to try to get them out of that shield ASAP. I mean, again, does it affect how we handle the pool? Not really. Does it affect how fast they go down? I mean, slightly. You're talking like an extra 2 seconds. It's really not that big of a deal. Again, as a Paladin, it's really, really nice because you have that ranged interrupt pretty much all the time on the Tinkerer. I would say if you aren't playing a Paladin, always have someone assigned, or at least 2 people assigned to the interrupts on the Tinkerer, because that wall-up on Fortified, it'll just wreck somebody. So it's always going to be the kill target here. Luckily, the Infiltrator was infiltrating the other Tinkerer. Otherwise, you would have 2 Tinkerers in this pool, which can be bad. Or was bad back in BFA. So the same thing with the Mark 1s. You got to watch out for that debuff. So you got a lot to pay attention on this pool. You got the debuffs going out from the Mark 1s. You got the... Oh, I forgot about this reset. Luckily, we didn't lust, but we did lose a lot of cooldowns here. I think the Warlock lost all his imps, or some cooldown, and our Rogue, as you can see, lost his Adrenaline Rush. So as you can see, even with these small mistakes, it's, you know, you're still making good time. You know what I mean? Like, if we optimize this a little bit better, we could have probably even 2-chested this, honestly. So really nothing to talk about on Spark Flux. I'm just going to let you watch it here. One thing I will say is that so if you stun this flower, it'll target the one that's the player that's closest to it. So that's a lot of times going to be either your warrior, rogue, or you, and you want to try to make it be you. Some ranged will tell you about a safe space in that doorway to my right now. It's only safe against these cogs. You still have to move for the fire, you still have to move for everything else. It's just safe for the cogs. So just bear that in mind if you're ranged and watching this. One thing that is a little bit unfortunate about a Paladin is you do kind of have to stay in your Consecration for a lot of your damage mitigation. So on this boss specifically, it's kind of hard to move around a lot. You're taking a lot of unnecessary damage. Here, I think one of the DPS, yeah, our Rogue gets hit by the Flame Cannon. I'm just pumping him filled with heals. I think I lay on hands him after I sacrifice him. And then it causes me to, I think, go down here. Yeah, so I go to lay on hands him, and I get hit by those fucking flames. It's really unfortunate. Luckily, the boss was almost down, and our Warlock was able to get a B-res on me pretty quick. I just throw a quick taunt on him. We ignore the flower. We just kill boss. Easy. Kex, if you're watching this, you were the reason I died, 100%, because I was too busy trying to heal you. So another optimizing point here, if you kill the one that I'm targeting now, I think I mark it with a skull here in just a second. If you kill that one, it starts the RP for the ride or the ship to come down. Again, not a big deal. Nothing to, like, lose your mind over. You're talking the difference between 1 or 2 seconds. Yeah, not a big deal. Like, if our Warlock's ramping into 1, I'm not going to tell him to, like, swap his ramp over. You know what I'm saying? Alright, so here we're pulling these 3. They pop up the shield. Like, again, I'm focusing the Tinker. I want those interrupts all the time. I try to just pull one of the Mark 3s, because on this pull, the short outs can get a little spicy, but, you know, it happens. We got to pull both of them anyway, so it is what it is. You can see our DPS have all their cooldowns up. They're sending cooldowns, which, again, is great, because, again, it's fortified. You want to try to get these things killed as fast as possible. Once that Tinker goes down, the fight just becomes trivial at that point. Our DPS do a really good job of focusing down one of the Mark IIIs. And so then now we just have the one Mark III and his one short out, which, as you can see here, doesn't do a whole lot of damage because Yalan is kind of out of control. Sorry, old Greg. Our Warlock's pre-positioning for the lock gate. He's, don't tell him I said this, but he's pretty freaking good. So, we all just get up there nice and easy. If you are playing a smaller model that has trouble getting on those gates, just use a toy to transform into a bigger model. The Gammon Braid, whatever. It will help you get into that gate if you're having trouble. And if you're playing one of those smaller models, like I was playing a Dwarf. So just for safety, I try to use a toy that makes me into a larger model. Like you can see, I'm a human female model right now, so easy peasy. Really nothing much to say about this fight. Just gotta go. If you're playing a Paladin, during this takeoff here, what you can do is just help off heal. Really, you're not doing anything else. You can throw a couple of judgments at the boss and then use your Worldly Glory to help heal the group. But during Tyrannical, your off heals really really have a difference, and can help make that phase a lot smoother for your healer. Letting them save on mana for the actual phase 2 with the Magneto arm and everything, because they're dumping a ton of heals into that little event there. I was trying to mark off an area for me to stand, because usually I try to mark off an area where I'm going to stand. Wasn't working too well, so I just said screw it. Not a big deal. As a tank, usually you can just kind of bait into this corner real hard, and as long as you're not getting hit by the swirly, you're good to go. Like, see, I should have went backwards instead of forward there, and I ended up dying. Luckily, our rogue had evasion up and was evasion tanking for a while. As soon as you get up, just throw a taunt out, and the hitbox is huge, right? So you can kind of just tank from middle of the platform, honestly, if you wanted. But to keep your range and everybody else safe, I like to tank in this far corner. Honestly, me falling off there is kind of rare, because, you know, you can honestly just bait into that corner as far as possible, and then either walk out, walk in, walk forward. Not really a big deal. I overcommit, I think, a little bit of my defensives here. You see I popped my wall and my Ardent Defender there. It was just because my healer went down, Warrior's going down. We're kind of getting a little bit of a little clumsy here. I just want to make sure that I have enough to kind of live through, and I have enough resources to either start wogging the party, or can build up resources for when my wall and Ardent Defender do fall off. We kill it nice and easy. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me on YouTube. Just shoot me a message or anything like that. If you have questions about the UI or anything, just let me know. All right, have a good day. Thanks.